Hello. It's been kind of a long time because, work, not just work, I also got married. I applied for another visa. Still busy. I should have been studying for this test constantly, but time to cram since I have this test this Friday. So time to study multiple, I'm forgetting English. Study multiple, oh my gosh, it scratched me. I need to study multiple chapters is what I want to say. Multiple chapters a day. Why can't I speak English? Okay, so I started writing these notes because it's better than just, constantly looking back at the book and translating in my head. It's better to just look at my notes, I think. So I'm not gonna lie, I really procrastinated on doing this chapter because it's the thing that I don't know the most, which is the types of housing here in Korea. And I mean the vocabulary. Now I know, but when you, or just me, maybe not you, when I looked at this chapter to study with all the words that I don't know about renting and real estate, basically, I was so it took me a long time to do it. Anyway, so chapter 5 is about 주거, which means not 주거, die, but it means housing, where you live. And just like always, there's two main parts that this book wants you to know about. First part is about what the houses look like what, not what they look like, what they're shaped like. You know what I mean? What they are, I guess I mean. What kind of housing? So basically, housing in Korea can be divided into two basic types. One is 단독주택, which is basically it's housing that's owned by one person. If you know what I mean. Okay. Hold on. And then this is why I procrastinated so much, because actually when you look up these terms, so many of them are translated into the same thing. So you really have to look it up yourself instead of just plugging it into a translator. Anyway, there's 단독주택, which is traditional housing. That includes actual houses, actual houses that stand by themselves, houses. And if you've never been to Korea, or if you just live in the States, you might be like, what do you mean houses? And it's because in Korea there's many types of housing, and when people talk to you in Korean, they just call them all 집, house. Besides apartment, they say apartment is apartment, but everything else they just call 집, house. And you can buy different types of housing, but it's not what we think of in the States as a separated house. You know what I mean? It's okay, I'll explain. Anyway, like I said, why am I rambling on this? Housing in Korea can be divided into two parts, which is 단독주택, which is traditional housing, and 공동주택, which is multi-family houses. So when it comes to 단독주택, the traditional housing, that includes 일반주택, which is general housing, which means not apartments. So houses, houses, the houses we think of in America. Sorry if you're not American. And then under 단독주택, traditional housing, there's also 다가구주택, which is multi-household housing. So with this one, technically one person owns the house or building, whatever it is, and they can rent out to many people. But legally, that whole building or the whole house is registered under only one person. So the tenants don't have their own separate address. You understand what I mean? So for legal stuff, they can't register that house. They can live there, and usually it's cheaper than other forms of housing, but they don't have their own address. It is just the person that owns the house or the building renting out the rooms or the floors to other people. And then when it comes to the multi-family houses, there's 다세대 주택, which is the one I just talked about before, the 다가구 주택, but everyone has their own addresses legally, so you can register with the governmental stuff. Then there's 열림주택, which is townhouses, or it's a fancier 다세대 주택. And then there's apartments, which are high-rise. Next part is about how do you find a house. When it comes to housing in Korea, there's different ways to get your housing. One is 자가, which is owning your actual house. You own the house. There's 전세, which is leasing the place on a deposit. And then there's 월세, which is just monthly rent. But among all of those, only in Korea apparently, 전세, which is the leasing on a deposit, is most widely used. When you look for a house, it's safe when you go to a 부동산 중개업소, which is real estate agency. And the last thing they want you to know is the most important things that Korean people consider when looking for a place to live. 편리한 교통, which is convenient transportation. 교육 여건, which is educational conditions. 환경의 쾌적함, which is the pleasantness of the surroundings. And 편의시설, which is the amenities that surround that place. Okay, I'm running out of time too. Yeah, bye.